By necessity, his early history made him a lifelong student of human behaviour and taught him how to use his keen intuition and knowledge for his own survival. He now uses his talents to aid individuals, sales teams, customer-focused teams and people working within large companies to communicate with their clients and, more importantly, with each other. His life experience reads like a Dickens novel with a happy ending, from orphan to high school dropout, to college student, to homeless person, to sales consultant, to commodities trader, to overseas traveller, to working with rock stars, to trainer, author and public speaker, all in one lifetime. Please welcome Rum.
Good morning, ladies. How are we doing? You doing okay? No worries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little game with you. Instead of me talking at you or talking to you, I want to talk with you this morning. We've only got about 35 odd minutes together, so I want to make this as useful to you as humanly possible. And what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to tell me about things that stress you. One question right there.
We all have stress. I don't think you can have life without stress. But how is the best way to manage it without having meltdowns, which is what happened to me 2 weeks ago, and I screamed out I quit.
So you had a meltdown and you thought you were going to quit. What was your name?
I did. I'm Helen.
Is that, as a friend of mine once said, when we get stressed, it's like a bus hitting a wall and everything flies to the front, and it all flies to the front at one go. So what I'm going to say to us is that we've first of all got to understand that we are stressed, and recognising the points that trigger stress is very, very important, so we don't allow it to build up in the first place. I think, Helen, the first thing we've got to do is acknowledge that we're allowed to be stressed. Stress is not necessarily a negative thing as long as we contain it, control it, and learn how to manage it and use it. So what I'm going to talk to you about now for the next few minutes is managing that stress. Can I ask you, what do you do when you get up for work in the morning? What is the first thing that you do?
I mean, when I get into work?
Yeah, before you get into work, first thing you do?
I check my emails.
You check your emails. So first up, you check your emails.
Yes.
Okay. Can I suggest to you that you are starting your position in life and you're starting your day without preparing yourself for your day? You see, I think it's really, really important that everybody prepares themselves to a day. I know that Chandra was talking about elite athletes a moment ago. Alright? But if I'm Usain Bolt, he's the world's fastest man at the moment, okay? He can run 100 metres in less than 10 seconds. Can I ask you the question? Do you think that he trains for what he does? Yeah, you do? Okay. I'll ask you the next question. Do you think that he stretches and does exercises but to warm his body up before he goes out to start a race? What's the reason he does that? Get an injury, I heard it. Who said who not get an injury? Thank you. You see, if he's going to warm himself up so he's not going to get an injury, and he's going to do something that's going to take less than 10 seconds, where he's not going to talk to anybody else, how much more important is it for us, who deal with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people in a day, that we warm up our attitude? You know, if you're starting off your day by going straight into it and checking your emails, it's like Usain Bolt starting a race without doing any warm-ups. So what I'm going to say about to control your stress is to actually center yourself at the beginning of your day. How do you center yourself? How do you warm up your attitude? I can only tell you what I do. A little bit similar to Chandra when she says about talking to yourself. Me, I talk to my dead cat. No, I do. He used to be an alive cat. He was really cool. Alright, he did. But there's this road that runs outside my house, which is sort of like a cat killer. Alright? And like one day he didn't come back. I got very sad about this. And I realised that I used him more than just being a pet. Because what I would do in the mornings was I'd wake up and like he'd be there hitting me on the head, giving me food, give me food. And I'd sit there and I'd go, Mr. Scaramanga, which was his name, I'd say, what kind of a day am I going to have? And he'd say to me, Rum, you're going to have a fantastic day. You know, and this morning when I did it, I said, you know, what kind of a day am I going to have? He goes, you know, you're going to the EAPA conference, you're going to be chatting to a whole load of lovely people. It's going to be a good day. You're going to really enjoy yourself. It's in St Kilda Road, it's not far. This is all good. Now, you see, the point that I'm making when I do that is that is the way that I warm up my attitude. I'm not talking about preparing lists of things I've got to do. I'm talking about preparing my attitude for what's going to happen in that day. Can everybody see? Yeah, can all see? Lovely. When I was a child, wasn't that long ago, okay, we had a toy, alright? And this toy was about yay big, and it had lead at the bottom, which accounts for my madness, alright? And it's hollow at the top and plastic, yeah? Now you see, because it's got lead at the bottom, and it's hollow at the top, and it's egg-shaped, when I push that, what happens to it? It bounces back, yeah? So if I push it from here, what happens? Bounces back. What about here? Or here, or here, or here, or here, or here. It doesn't matter where I push that from, it will always revert back to its centre. That's like the way I see myself. You see, the advertisement for this particular toy was, "Weebles wobble but we don't fall down. Weebles wobble but we don't fall down." And like, I thought, why has that stayed with me for 40 odd years? Yeah, you're right, I'm crazy. Alright, I mean, why has that stayed with me for so long? And then I worked out one day that it's because it's the easiest way for me to remember how to centre myself. I've got to be a good weeble. And the only way I can be a good weeble is to be centred and have lead at my base. So coming back to you, Helen, how do I avoid the stress? I breathe in the morning, I talk to my cat, and I do karate. These are mechanisms that I use to offload my stress and not let it build. Does that make sense to you?